Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Irma and you can find me on YouTube, Instagram and Ravelry as Wolwerkjes. Also you can find my products on wolwerkjes.com. My space to talk about knitting. Welcome to everybody. I hope you enjoy watching what I made the last 2 weeks. And we will just get started. Normally I start with what I'm wearing, but I'm not wearing any knitwear today. It's a little bit, how you say, it's not really hot, but it's like you get sweaty easily. It's that kind of weather, so no knitwear today. Yesterday I wore a knitted sweater. We went to a place called Weversmarkt, translated Weavers Market, and it was rainy, so I put on my rustic wool sweater to keep dry from the rain, and it really helped. But today it's not good weather to wear wool. When I get hot and I wear wool, it can get a little bit irritating. But yeah, maybe I think when I go outside, maybe a shawl would be perfect. But for now inside, no knitwear today. A lot of talking about something I can show you. So I move on to works in progress. And for returning viewers, again, I'm gonna say it. I'm doing a test knit and it's a secret test knit, so I can't say anything about it. I'm quite far along. I think I'm past 2/3 now. So it will be, the deadline is end of July. And I was a little bit afraid if I could manage to finish it because I had a little bit of less knitting time last month. I explained it in the last video. So I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to. I really start working on it again, and it's too soon to say it's almost finished, but the parts that I have to do are quite easy and easy to do in front of the television, and I feel a little bit more space to join in other projects as well, so that's really nice. It's hard for me to just work on one project straight. I can do it, but I like variation, and there are other things I would really like to work on now, so it's nice to have a little bit more time for that. As I said, it's a secret test knit, I can't show you, but I will promise you the moment I can, I will show you what I'm knitting on. So that was my first work in progress. I have another work in progress which is kind of worth showing. It's not really big or something, but I have a half finished object. Oh my gosh. Okay. While I was taking out my half finished object out of his project bag, I'm knitting, it's a sock. I will show you first. It's my micro striping sock and I really like it. It's really sturdy yarn, which is nice for socks, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. I really need to change things about this color, but it's really fun to see the stripes emerge. So I finished this one, so that's really nice. I did a heel flap and gusset. I did a, do you call it a slipped stitch heel? It looks like ribbing, but it is not. But when I took out this one, I'm knitting on DPNs and I start really liking it. But I took it out and I just pulled out a needle. So there were like a quarter of my stitches were just without a needle. So I needed to pick them up. That's why I need a needle cozy. And I promised that I would make some and put them in the shop, but I did not have the time for it. My husband took some days off unexpectedly, so I didn't feel like sitting behind the sewing machine, but maybe this week I will make them. For sure I need one. There was a period that I was like, oh, why would you need a needle cozy? But the soon you start knitting a lot with DPNs, you know why it is so easy. For example, when you take them out of your bag, you don't want to pull out a needle. Oh my gosh. So sock finished, one sock to go, and yeah, they're really cozy, and I can't wait for the weather to be like wearing them. Of course, I still first want a little bit more summer, but it is nice to have something waiting for you that is nice for the colder weather. So that's that. And I'm really thinking now what I should show you, because I did a little bit of knitting on other things. I think I knit one row on my boxy, so I'm not going to, I will just show you. It's been a few weeks. You can't see any difference, but it's always nice to touch it because it makes me want to knit it. This is my hand-dyed yarn in the color Sweet Kisses, and it's on my merino silk merino silk rami base, and yeah, I really love it as well, the base as the color. I've split it for the armholes, so I have half of my stitches on hold and I'm knitting on the other half, and I'm mid-row, so it's really hard to show now. But I think I knit maybe one row on it, and I don't know why, because I just told you I had a little bit more time next to my test knitting to knit, and I really want this one finished. So I don't know really why I didn't do it, but I think the sock appealed a little bit more because I saw I could finish it within a certain amount of time. As for this one, I think when I knit on it, when it's the only project I work on, I think I can finish it within a week, maybe a little bit more. But as I said, that's not the situation now, so I think that's maybe holding me back a little. But as I said, when I touch it, I really want to work on it and I want to finish it. So maybe this afternoon I will knit a little bit on this one. And I have one other project where I put on maybe 2 rows, not really a lot, and it's my frosted apple shawl. It's hard to show because it's on a short needle, but it's lace with beads and it's really fun, and I was really happy I could find out where I was in the lace, because I just put it away without marking where in the lace pattern I was, and it's easy lace, but I was really happy I could find the spot where I was. The reason I knit this on short cable, because I think when I stretch it out I will have a shawl wider than the screen view now. The reason why I put it on a shorter cable is because it knits a little bit faster. Your stitches are closer together, so it's easier to slide them off, because when you stretch it out you have to kind of move your whole knitting to get to the next stitch, otherwise it will stretch out too much. So I like working on a short cable so the stitches are close together and I don't have to push my knitting onto the needle every time. It does mean I can't really see the shape of my knitting, and that's too bad. It's a crescent shaped shawl, and you can see it a little that it gets wider and it's kind of a half circle and gets smaller again. So I kind of have an idea, but I have no idea how big this will be when it is finished. So that's also fun to have a surprise, I think. I was not sure about the color in the beginning, but I think it's working out quite nice. And I think it would be really nice to make something like this also in just one color, but the variegation is not too much distracting from the lace pattern itself. So that's really nice. I like adding the beads. That's a fun thing to do, and because it's every 6th row, I think, it's kind of a goal to knit to. So, oh, I just want to add some beads and then I will stop. And then you don't stop because you want to go to the next row of beads. So that's really fun. And the bag makes a fun rattling noise because the beads are in there. Now, oh, luckily my cat didn't notice that. I hope he didn't hear it now. Because I think he will start attacking the bag when he knows it's making noise. Okay, I have 2 more works in progress which are not knitting, and one of them is spinning, and I just took off the bobbin yesterday. I finished, I don't know if you can see, I finished spinning my silk. I dyed some silk I had lying around. I don't know the amount of yarn, the amount of grams. When I should have a guess, I think it was a little bit less than 50 grams. And I spun it quite thin. I made kind of a gradient kind of look on the unspun silk. And underneath you can't see, you can only see the outer color, of course. Now I really would like to have one of those bobbins that you can see the colors in your spinning because it's open at the side, which is really nice, I think. But now you can't see, but there are yellows and oranges underneath. At some places it's so thin that I don't want to knit with it straight away, so I need to apply it in some way, and I could do a 2-ply by making a cake of the yarn and then spin it from the inside and the outside of the cake, but then the gradient would be interrupted because you apply one end to the other, so you won't have the gradient in one go, but you twist. I twist the yellow color with the red purple color on this side, so I don't think that's what I would go for. I could have split the silk fiber so I have 2 threads and then 2-ply them, but I couldn't get bothered at the moment I started, so I think I will do a chain ply. I do like doing chain ply, and the yarn is thin enough to still have a light weight of yarn, because I don't often use bulky and those kind of yarn, so I don't want to get, because you make three strands of yarn together when you ply, when you do a chain ply, you have 3 strands of the yarn together. You get a thicker yarn. You get a rounder yarn, which is nice for stitch definition, but you also get a little bit thicker yarn. So I think this is thin enough to do that, because when it's thicker, I don't, as I said, I don't use the heavier weight yarns that much. So, but I think this will be fine. And I finished it last night, and I'm not really good at waiting when I want something sometimes. I think I will wait until tonight to apply it. I heard someone say you have to leave your bobbin for 24 hours. you have to leave the yarn on the bobbin for 24 hours before you take it off to ply or to take it off to set the twist. And I've been known to ply it earlier and it worked fine. So maybe this afternoon I will take a few, maybe I think maybe I need half an hour. Plying goes quite fast and it's not really that much yarn to ply it, because I'm very curious how it will look. So that's nice. And let me think. Oh yeah, I have another work in progress which is completely, not completely, it's something creative, but it's something new I'm going to show you, and it's some beading. Let me see if I can show you. I think they call this the peyote stitch. And you have it in odd count and even count, and the even count is a little bit easier to establish than the odd count. So I started with an even count, and yeah, it's really satisfying to see something like this appear. The beads are really small. I already attached one side of the clasp on the beads just because I wanted to see how it looked, and this will be a bracelet. As you can see, I'm really not done yet, but it's really fun and satisfying to do, and I can't wait to finish it and make another one because it's really nice and sparkly. And it made me think of maybe spinning also with some beads in it. And I've watched some YouTube videos about how to spin with beads, and I think that maybe I will try spinning with beads someday, because I love working with beads. It's a little bit, I have two small children. The oldest one is old enough to not put the beads in his mouth, but the youngest is still young enough to do so, and I have a cat. So I really need to do those things in the hours that they are sleeping and stuff. So, but it's really fun to do. And maybe spinning with the beads is, maybe I should just thread them on. You make little pieces of fiber with a bead on and you join them in your spinning as you go. So in that way you add the beads and you can prepare a lot of pieces of fiber with beads on before you start the spinning. So maybe I will prepare a little bit of that before I start the spinning, but it's in the future. I'm not going to do it in my next spinning project, I think, but it will be fun. I saw some pictures of, oh, I can't remember the brand name of the, I think it's a lady, maybe it's a man, I don't know. I think it's a lady. She makes gorgeous skeins with beads and how you call those, flat discs with a hole in it. She also joins them in the spinning, and it's really pretty. And I think it's nice to knit a scarf with beaded yarn, because you get the effect of the beading, but it's a little bit more randomly distributed in your scarf, and I think that's also nice instead of adding them to a stitch. So something to think of. So those were all the things I have worked on, but as I said, we went to a market yesterday, and it's called Weaver's Market, but it was not only weaving, there was a lot of spinning stuff and also yarn, so it was really fun to walk around and have a look, and I made a little acquisition. What did I buy? I bought fibre. I didn't bought any yarn because the only yarn I was looking for wasn't available. No, that's not true. There was a lot of nice yarns, but I like buying yarn with a purpose and not just because it's a pretty skein. It's nice to buy yarn just because it's a pretty skein, but I know that they will be just lying around and nothing will happen with them. So that's why I like to buy yarn for projects, and except from the cropped cardigan, I don't have any project on my mind right now, so I wasn't really looking for yarn. But there was a lot of spinning stuff, so I bought fibre for spinning. And the first one I bought, it's from Wolwerkjes. I will put it down, and they're based in Wormer, I see. And I bought this gradients. I think there's not evenly, there's another color in here as well. There's not an even amount of each color in the bag. And it gives me the idea that is maybe it is like the leftovers from the fiber they have, and they make kits with gradients or rainbows and stuff. And I like green, and I sorted it out again to make the gradient because it was just all green in there, and I was like, oh, I can make a gradient skein of yarn out of this, and it's 250 grams, so that will be nice to do. And I think they say first quality, but I think it's merino. I didn't ask because I don't really mind if it's not 100% merino per se, but I think it is, and it is really lovely. And I think this is maybe going to be beaded, but I'm not sure. And I'm also not sure if I will include this last color, which is more yellowish, but maybe I will just get over it and do it. But I do really like this top part. I'm not 100% sure about this bottom color. It makes it a little bit more nice if you say it's almost a golden color. I don't think it's gold, it's really greenish. But yeah, we will see. Maybe I will put it in, maybe I'll leave the greenish color out, but I think I'm going to split it. I'm going to take the time, I split it evenly and make a gradient out of it. That will be a nice thing to test as well, to see how that works. I think it will be really nice. And I did make another purchase, and I think this will replace the yarn I wanted to buy. Let me see if I can take it out without making too much noise. I bought 2 of those enormous bags of fluff on my nose, of yarn, of fiber. And they're both, I have 2, and they're both 250 grams, and it is 100% gotland. And it's a little bit more, you feel the fiber sticking out a little bit. It's more sturdy than, for example, merino is, but it is also, again, really soft altogether. And I asked the lady if it would be how it would spin out if I can make a really thin yarn with it, and she said yeah, it's really easy to spin it out thin. And it was 250 grams, and it was €6.50 for one of those. And I was like, when I take 2, I can maybe spin myself a sweater's quantity of yarn for the cropped cardigan I want to make. And I think it's a really nice color that matches a lot. There are black hairs in there, and there are lighter hairs in there. It's a really variegated grey color. It's the natural color of the sheep, and I think it would be lovely to have a cardigan in this. So that's my next spinning project, I think, after applying the silk. And I have some spinning on my drop spindles, but I think this will be the next thing on my spinning wheel. And I'm really looking forward to working with it. And normally I just take one end and start spinning, and I'm quite okay with getting thin, even yarn that way. But I think with this one maybe I will take the time to pre-draft it to make it even easier. And I really like this material. There was a woman walking by and she was like, "Oh, that's rough." And yeah, you feel the fiber, but the fiber you feel is really soft. I think it's a little bit the same with mohair, that you because the mohair is sticking out, you feel the fiber, but it's not like hurting your skin or something. It's really a soft touch, and I really like it. It's a shame I didn't write down the lady who sold it, because she had a really lovely boot with a lot of natural colored fiber. They also had zwartbles, and they had mixes of white sheep and the zwartbles, and they also had, what was it? They had a lot of natural colored fibers, and they also had a lot of alternative fibers. Not alternative, but more luxurious. Like they had camel, and they had locks, and they had them in natural colors, but also dyed, so you can add texture to your spinning. But she also had a lot of plant fibers. She had rami, she had silk is not a plant fiber, but she also had silk, and she had floss, I think. I don't know the translation of floss. And she also had soy, and I was really interested in the soy because it was all packaged up, and I said, "Oh, soy, is that easy to spin?" And she said, "It's the same as silk." And I was like, "Oh, I really like spinning silk." I said, "Is it, how does it feel? Is it rough?" And she says, "No, they're really soft, even softer than silk to work with." And I could touch it, and it was really soft. And I think I will do that one day, spinning soy. It's yeah, it was really interesting. And they also had rose, and well, she had so much. It's too much to say it all, but it was a really nice booth, and it's a shame I didn't register the name of the shop she represented, because I think it would be a place that I order from. But for now I have enough fiber to spin for the coming months. And it's really fun about buying fiber is that it's way cheaper than buying yarn. And of course there is a reason for it, because yarn has to be spun, and that takes time, and people have to work on it. So of course it adds value to the product. So it's understandable that the yarn is way more expensive than fiber. But I paid $6.50 for 200 grams. And when you buy a skein of Gotland, I think you will be lucky to find it for 15 euros, 100 grams. So when I manage to do this the right way, it would be interesting to start spinning for my garments. But we will see. I also love to use my own hand-dyed yarn, and it's a really different effect. And I do love working with commercial yarns as well. I'm working the test knit in a commercial yarn, and it's so even that it gives your stitches a really beautiful definition. So I won't go all the way to only spinning my own yarn, but it is interesting when you look at the price point of it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to using these. And that's it, I think. I was looking for maybe another spindle, and I'm quite interested in supported spindles at the moment. I have never tried it. I have never seen one in real life, only on the internet. But some way they interest me a lot. And but they didn't have it at the market, so that was a shame. But I think when they would have had nice supported spindles, maybe I would have bought one, but they didn't, so it's fine. I only think that I need to have more bobbins for my spinning wheel now. My spinning wheel came with 3 and this one is in use. The other 2, one is empty. On the other one I tried spinning cotton, which was, I'm not going to say the word, but it was really, really annoying. So yeah, I need to take that off, and then I have 3 bobbins, 2 empty and 1 full. But I think I have 500 grams of the Gotland to spin, and I don't think they will fit on, I don't think 250 grams will fit on 2 bobbins. 500 grams will fit on 2 bobbins, so 250 each. I don't think I will manage that, and I want to make a 2-ply, I think maybe 3, but I think 2-ply. So I need to have more bobbins, because I like to do the plying in one go instead of spinning 2 bobbins, plying them, spinning 2 more bobbins and then plying. I don't think that's a good idea. So I think I will need to buy more bobbins. So we will see. For now, this is the end, and I hope you enjoyed watching all the things I make, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye!